I used to think that the safest place in the world was behind a firewall. In the digital realm, everything has a place. Every line of code either works or it doesn't. There is no ambiguity, no subtext, no messy human emotions that can't be resolved with a simple reboot. My name is Alice, and for most of my life, I was a ghost by choice. I spent my days in the basement of the Vaughn Technological Corporation, surrounded by the hum of server fans and the steady blue pulse of LEDs. I was the silent guardian of the company's secrets, the architect of a world no one ever saw. But then, Eleanor Vaughn dragged me into the light. She didn't do it because she was kind. She didn't do it because she wanted to save me. She did it because she's a predator, and she found a glitch in her machine that she couldn't ignore. Now, as I stand in the center of a glass-walled gallery on the top floor of her empire, I realize that existing is the most exhausting thing I have ever done. The air in the gallery is thick with the scent of expensive champagne, industrial floor wax, and the sharp, bitter orange of Eleanor's perfume. It's a smell that has become my tether to reality, the only thing that keeps me from dissolving back into the shadows. People are everywhere. They are dressed in silk and diamonds. Their voice is a constant, low-frequency hum that makes my skin crawl under the heavy fleece of my oversized navy blue hoodie. They are here to see the digital prodigy, the girl who turned encryption logs into art. But they aren't really looking at the screens. They are looking at me. They are looking for the girl who dared to stand next to the Ice Queen. Eleanor is standing near the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city she owns. She is wearing a charcoal gray wool suit that looks like it was carved from a single block of stone. Stiff, boxy, and perfectly tailored to hide any hint of softness. Her platinum hair is pulled back so tight it looks like a weapon, reflecting the neon lights of the metropolis below. To the world, she is the personification of clinical power. She is the woman who never flinches, the CEO who calculates her breaths by the millisecond. But I know better. I know the way her hand trembled on the roof at midnight. I know the way her voice drops to a low, smoky rasp when the lights go out. "You're doing it again, Alice," she says, without even turning around. She doesn't have to look at me to know where I am. We've spent 3 months in each other's orbit, 2 celestial bodies held together by gravity. We don't fully understand. Doing what? I ask, my voice sounding thin and small against the roar of the crowd. I keep my hands shoved deep into my pockets, my thumbs tracing the edges of the high-end digital stylus she gave me. It's my only weapon in this room full of sharks. "Hiding," she replies, turning slowly. Her ice-blue eyes scan my face, searching for the glitch. "You've spent the last hour staring at the server logs on the walls, instead of the people who paid $5,000 a ticket to meet you. You are the star tonight, Alice. Act like it." "I never asked to be a star, Eleanor," I whisper, stepping closer until I can smell the expensive wood smoke on her blazer. "I was happy in the dark. You're the one who decided I needed a stage. In this city, if you don't own the stage, you're just part of the scenery," she says, her voice dropping to that dangerous velvet whisper. She reaches out, her fingers cold as they brush against the sleeve of my hoodie. It's a calculated gesture, one that would look like a professional correction to anyone watching, but I feel the heat of her palm through the fabric. "I gave you this gallery because your mind is the only thing in this building that isn't a transaction. Don't make me regret letting the world see what I found in the basement." I look at the screens surrounding us, huge, high-definition displays that pulses with the digital constellations I drew during the long nights of the server migration. They are beautiful, haunting webs of purple and gold, shifting and evolving in real time as the company's live data flows through them. It's my soul, rendered in 256-bit encryption. It's the logic of a machine, transformed into the chaos of a dream, and right in the center of the room is the main installation, the 256-bit heart. It's a massive, holographic sphere that glows with a deep, cinematic gold. It doesn't follow the data of the servers. It follows the rhythm of a heartbeat, a code I wrote based on the night of the blackout. Only Eleanor and I know what it really represents. To the board members and the socialites, it's just a clever use of biometric data. To us, it's the moment the Ice Queen melted. Chloe is here, of course. She's hovering near the bar, her designer dress a splash of aggressive crimson against the minimalist gray of the room. She's been watching us all night, her eyes like a hawk's, searching for the one slip-up that will prove the rumors true. She doesn't believe in art. She believes in leverage, and she thinks she's found it in the way I look at Eleanor when the cameras aren't flashing. Efficiency is the only currency I value, Eleanor had said during my interview. But as she stands here, her hand lingering just a second too long on my arm, I realize she's lying to herself. She values the stars. She values the way I break her rules without even trying. And tonight, as the city watches us, the rules are more fragile than they have ever been. The crowd begins to surge toward us, a wave of silk and perfume, and I feel the familiar urge to pull my hood up and vanish. But then, I feel Eleanor's fingers tighten on my arm. It's not a command. It's a request. She's afraid too. She's afraid of what happens when the statue becomes a woman. She's afraid of the warmth she's found in the basement of her own life. "Stay," she whispers, so low that only I can hear it over the clinking of glasses. "I'm not going anywhere," I reply, finally taking my hands out of my pockets. The lights in the gallery dim, and the digital stars on the walls begin to glow brighter, casting a muted gold light over Eleanor's face. For a second, the CEO disappears. The old money, the rigid suits, the board meetings. It all fades into the background. There is only the code, the stars, and the girl who saw them both. This is the first part of our new system. This is the moment the ghost becomes real. And as the first guest approaches us, I realize that the most dangerous thing about the light isn't that people can see you. It's that you can finally see yourself. The crowd moves like a slow-motion tide of shadows against the brilliant, shifting gold of the screens. I can feel their eyes crawling over me. The girl in the oversized navy hoodie, standing next to the most powerful woman in the city. To them, I am a curiosity, a glitch that Eleanor Vaughn has decided to put on display, but the air between Eleanor and me is charged with a different kind of frequency, a silent data stream that no one else can decode. I keep my eyes on the holographic heart in the center of the room, watching it pulse with that deep, cinematic gold. It's a rhythmic reminder of the night we stopped being a CEO and an assistant and started being two people shivering in the dark. "Smile, Alice," Eleanor whispers, her voice a smooth, low rasp that barely carries over the clinking of champagne flutes. She doesn't move a single muscle in her rigid, charcoal gray suit. She remains a statue of perfect, clinical power, but I can see the way her pulse is jumping in the hollow of her throat, just above the stiff collar of her shirt. The board members are watching. They want to see if the investment was worth the scandal. "The scandal hasn't even started yet," I reply, my fingers clenching around the digital stylus in my pocket. I can see Chloe approaching from the corner of my eye. She looks like a predator in her crimson dress, her sharp smile reflecting the neon light of the city outside the glass walls. She's not here for the art. She's here for the kill. "Eleanor, darling," Chloe purrs as she reaches us, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. She doesn't even look at me. She treats me like a piece of equipment that hasn't been turned on yet. The exhibition is fascinating. Quite a leap for a company built on efficiency and logic. I didn't realize you had such an interest in the hidden talents of the basement staff. Eleanor turns slowly, her ice blue eyes scanning Chloe with a coldness that would freeze a lesser person. Efficiency comes in many forms, Chloe. Alice's work has secured our archives and visualized our future. If you spent more time analyzing data and less time analyzing my personal choices, perhaps your department's numbers wouldn't be so disappointing. I feel a surge of heat in my chest, a mix of pride and sheer terror. Eleanor is protecting me, but every word she speaks in my defense is a brick being pulled from her own fortress. Chloe's eyes finally snap to mine, and for a second, the mask of the marketing executive falls away. I see the raw, jagged envy underneath. "Be careful, little mouse," Chloe says, leaning in close enough that I can smell the cloying scent of her designer perfume. In this building, the higher you climb, the harder the fall, and Eleanor has a very long history of throwing away tools once they've served their purpose. Just ask the last few prodigies who occupied that office. "I'm not a tool," I say, my voice firmer than I expected. I don't look away. I've spent my life dealing with systems more complex than Chloe, and I know a desperate firewall when I see one. "I'm the virus that's already inside your system." Chloe's face goes rigid. She opens her mouth to snap back, but Eleanor steps between us, her hand resting firmly on the small of my back. It's a possessive gesture, one that makes the room go quiet for a heartbeat. The physical contact, my soft hoodie against her stiff, boxy wool sleeve, is a statement that none of the board members can ignore. "That will be all, Chloe," Eleanor commands, her voice a sharp, clinical blade. "Go find someone else to haunt. We have a presentation to give." Chloe sneers and disappears into the crowd, but the damage is done. The whispers have reached a fever pitch. I can feel the weight of 100 cameras, the silent judgment of the old money world that Eleanor was born into. She leads me toward the podium in the center of the room, her grip on my back never wavering. "You okay?" she asks, her voice dropping to that low, smoky vibration that only I am allowed to hear. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a server crash, I admit, looking up at her. The muted gold light of the heart reflects in her eyes, making them look almost purple in the cinematic shadows of the gallery. "Then let it crash," Eleanor says, a small, dangerous smirk playing on her lips. "We'll just rebuild it better." We reach the podium, and the lights in the room dim even further, until the only thing visible is the glow of the digital stars on the walls. I pull out my tablet, my fingers hovering over the interface. This is the moment I've been coding for. This isn't just a presentation, it's a revelation. 3 months ago, Eleanor begins, her voice booming through the sound system, with a fluidity and regal grace that commands absolute silence. I found a ghost in my machine, a mind that saw patterns where I saw only chaos. Tonight, that ghost is gone. "Alice, show them what you see when you look at the dark." I hit the first command. The screens around the room erupt in a violent surge of deep indigo and electric blue. The data streams aren't just shifting anymore. They are evolving. The digital constellations begin to map the history of the company. Every success, every failure, every secret, all rendered in the haunting beauty of a shifting galaxy. It's too complex to be fake, too logical to be a mere trick. It's the truth of the Vaughn Corporation, laid bare for everyone to see. But then, I trigger the subroutine, the main installation. The 256-bit heart begins to pulse faster. The golden light intensifies, flooding the room, turning every guest into a silhouette against the brilliance of the code. I can feel Eleanor's breath hitch beside me. She knows what's coming. This is the part of the code I didn't show her in the lab. This is the part I wrote in the middle of the night, thinking about the way her platinum hair looked in the moonlight on the roof. The holographic heart opens. Inside the sphere of gold, a new pattern emerges. It's not based on the company's data. It's a visualization of 2 voices, 2 frequencies, intertwining in a perfect, unbreakable loop. It's the sound of us talking in the dark. It's the rhythm of the rules being broken. The board members look confused, but Eleanor looks like she's seeing the stars for the very first time. "It's beautiful," she whispers, her hand finding mine under the podium, her fingers lacing with mine, a warm, calloused grip that anchors me to the earth. For a second, the gallery vanishes. There is no Vaughn Tower, no Chloe, no board members waiting for a slip-up. There is only the light, the code, and the woman who finally allowed herself to be seen. But then, a notification flashes on my tablet, a private encrypted message from an anonymous source. "I see you, Alice," and I have the photo from the roof. Midnight, the basement, or the whole city sees the Ice Queen's true face. The heart in the center of the room continues to pulse in its deep gold, but the cinematic lighting now feels like a spotlight on a crime scene. The virus isn't just in the system. The virus has a name, and she's waiting for me in the dark. The gold light of the heart in the gallery feels like ice now. The notification on my tablet is a jagged blade, cutting through the wonder of the night. I look at Eleanor, standing in her rigid, perfectly tailored suit, a statue of platinum and charcoal wool that the world thinks is invincible. She doesn't know the floor is about to vanish. She doesn't know our midnight on the roof has been turned into a weapon. "I need to check the cooling," I whisper, my voice thick with a lie. "The data load is spiking. If I don't balance it now, the heart will crash." Eleanor turns, her clinical mask snapping back into place for the board members, but I see the flicker of concern in her ice-blue eyes. She reaches out, her fingers brushing the heavy fleece of my navy hoodie, a touch that feels like a final goodbye. "Go. Fix it, Alice. I'll handle the crowd." I run. I take the service stairs, my sneakers slapping against cold concrete, echoing in the hollow core of the tower. The scent of her bitter orange perfume fades, replaced by ozone and the stale breath of the machines. I'm going back to the basement, back to the shadows where I first became a ghost. The basement is a forest of obsidian server racks, pulsing with blue LEDs. I reach the terminal, my face smudged with cold sweat. The shadows here are long and cinematic, casting me as a glitch in my own machine. "You're late, little mouse," a voice sneers. Chloe steps into the light. Her crimson dress is a wound in the dim blue room. She's holding her phone, the screen glowing with the photo from the roof. Eleanor is leaning into me, her rigid silhouette finally breaking, her lips pressed against mine in a moment of muted pink reality. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Chloe mocks, the Ice Queen melting in the arms of a basement ghost. I wonder what the board will think when they see their leader compromised by a girl in a hoodie 3 sizes too big. "What do you want?" I ask, gripping my stylus like a weapon. "I want you gone," she hisses. "I want Eleanor to know she can't rewrite the rules for a new toy. You're a virus, Alice. I'm the system's white blood cell. I'm going to delete you. Walk out now, or I hit send." My heart is a frantic 256-bit rhythm. I look at the servers, the constellations I built to protect Eleanor. Chloe thinks I'm just a ghost. She forgot that at the bottom of the food chain, there are things that eat the world from the inside out. "You're so obsessed with the hierarchy, Chloe," I say, my fingers flying across the keys with the speed of lightning. "You forgot that I own the code." The temperature in the room drops. Alarms start to wail, a low cinematic drone. The door hisses open. Eleanor is there. She is still the personification of clinical power, her platinum hair shimmering in the red emergency lights. She looks at Chloe, then at me. "Alice, what are you doing?" "I'm breaking the rules, Eleanor," I reply, "just like you told me to." I hit the final key. Every screen in the tower flickers. They don't show data anymore. They show a live feed of the basement. The guests, the board, the whole city, they are all watching us. "What have you done?" Chloe screams, staring at her phone as it begins to upload her own private logs of corporate espionage instead of our photo. "I've turned the lights on," I say, pulling my hood down and looking at the lens. The Ice Queen isn't melting. She's just stopped hiding in the cold. Eleanor steps into my space, her stiff blazer brushing my soft hoodie. She reaches out, her fingers certain as they brush my cheek in the red light. She looks at the camera, then at the board, watching from the penthouse. Efficiency is the only currency I value. Eleanor's voice echoes through the building, and the most efficient way to lead is with the truth. Alice is the mind that rebuilt my world. If you have a problem with that, you have a problem with me. Chloe collapses, her dress a stain against the obsidian tomb of the basement. We aren't ghosts anymore. We are the architects. The silence that follows Eleanor's declaration is heavier than any encryption I've ever written. In the red-tinted shadows of the basement, the world feels like it's holding its breath. The wailing alarms fade into a low hum, leaving only the sound of our breathing and the quiet whir of the cooling fans. Chloe is gone, escorted out by security, her crimson dress a fading memory against the obsidian racks. We are alone in the tomb of the machine, but for the first time, it doesn't feel like a hiding place. It feels like a throne room. I look at the blinking lights on the server panels, and for the first time, they don't look like cold commands. They look like a map of the territory we finally claimed. Eleanor turns to me, her ice-blue eyes searching mine for any sign of regret. Her platinum hair is slightly disheveled, a rare crack in the mask of the Ice Queen that only makes her look more real. She reaches out, her hand finding mine. Her palm is warm, a steady anchor in the aftermath of the storm. The rigid, boxy wool of her suit is still pressed against my soft, oversized hoodie, a physical bridge between the corporation and the ghost. I can feel her heart beating through the layers of silk and wool, a steady, frantic rhythm that matches my own. We are standing in the wreckage of her reputation, but she looks more powerful than she ever did behind her obsidian desk. "You broke the system, Alice," she whispers, her voice a low, smoky rasp that vibrates in the small space between us. There is no anger in her voice, only a sense of profound, terrifying liberation. She looks around at the servers, the machines that have defined her life for a decade, and I can see her letting go of the need to control every bit and byte. "I didn't break it," I reply, leaning my forehead against hers, closing my eyes so I can feel the heat radiating from her skin. "I just updated the firmware. No more secrets. No more shadows. We aren't glitches anymore, Eleanor. We're the core logic. I think about the months I spent in the dark, drawing stars and hoping no one would ever see me. I realize now that I wasn't hiding from the world. I was waiting for someone who knew how to navigate the dark." She lets out a shaky breath, a sound of pure, unadulterated relief that she would never show the board members upstairs. The board will be furious. There will be meetings, audits, and legal threats. They'll try to say I've lost my mind. They'll try to say you're a liability to the Vaughn name. They'll try to use every rule in the book to separate us. She looks at the security camera above us, the one that just broadcasted our truth to the entire penthouse, and she doesn't flinch. "Let them," I say, a small smirk playing on my lips. I've already backed up the truth. If they touch you, the whole city sees the digital stars I've hidden in their own accounts. I've woven our story into the very fabric of the company's infrastructure. You're untouchable now. We both are. I reach up and pull my hood back, letting my messy hair fall freely. I don't need the fabric to protect me anymore. I have her. Eleanor lets out a small, dry laugh, the beautiful, hollow sound that I fell in love with on the roof. She pulls me closer, her arms wrapping around my shapeless frame, holding me with a desperation that proves she's finally tired of being invincible. I bury my face in the stiff silk of her shirt, breathing in the bitter orange and wood smoke. We are two builders of walls who finally decided to live in the ruins. The air in the basement is cold, but the space between us is a furnace. "What happens tomorrow?" I ask, my voice muffled by her shoulder. I think about the elevator ride up, the long walk through the lobby, and the cameras that will be waiting at the entrance. Tomorrow, We walk into the office together, she says firmly, her hand stroking my hair with a tenderness that makes my breath hitch. You'll keep your hoodie, I'll keep my suits, but the glass walls won't be a cage anymore. They'll just be windows. We'll show them that a corporation can have a soul, even if we have to write the code for it ourselves. We stay there for a long time, surrounded by the pulsing blue LEDs of the server racks. Upstairs, the gallery is empty, the digital stars still glowing on the walls. For no one but the cleaning crew, the 256-bit heart is still beating in its cinematic gold, a rhythm that now belongs to the whole world. It's a beacon in the night, a signal to every other ghost in the basement that the light is finally safe. I realized then that being seen isn't about the spotlight. It isn't about the board members or the cameras or the thousands of people who will watch the recording of this night. It's about the person who looks at you in the dark and doesn't see a ghost. It's about the girl who sees the stars in your code and decides to stay for the light. It's about the Ice Queen realizing that her crown was just a block of ice, and the programmer realizing that her hoodie was just a shroud. As we walk out of the basement and toward the elevator, I don't pull my hood up. I keep my head high, my hand locked in hers. The metal doors reflect our image, the rigid, perfectly tailored CEO, and the messy, oversized assistant. We look like a glitch. We look like a mistake. But as the elevator begins its ascent toward the top floor, I know that we are the only real thing in this entire building. We are the architects of a new world, a system where efficiency and heart finally speak the same language. The Ice Queen didn't melt. She just found a fire worth keeping. And as the doors open to the bright, silent penthouse, I know that whatever comes next, we won't be facing it in the back row. We're the main characters now, and our story is just beginning.